So today I've got special guest Ian Stevens joining me to talk about LinkedIn and his success story. So welcome, Ian.
Thank you. Great to be with you, Joe.
Yeah, thanks for coming along and sharing your insights and experience so far. So Ian, do you want to just quickly share what you actually do or what problems you solve for your audience?
Yeah, well, I do a couple of things. I work with switched on leaders and particularly sales directors who are looking for systems and tools to kind of make sure their revenue number happens so they can sleep at night. And so we provide a lot of Salesforce effectiveness tools and sales training. We also work in the culture transformation space with organizations. We do that via Enrich Training and Development, which is kind of one of our main websites, but also we have an online portal with various programs. And then I also have Ian Stevens Speaks because I do a lot of professional speaking in those kind of niche areas. So that's us, and that's where I play. And of course, you know, LinkedIn with your coaching and mentoring and tutoring over the last couple of years has become a major kind of, marketing strategy for us that has delivered great results.
Excellent. I like what you've just led straight into where we're going. It's awesome. So if we just talk about I'd love to know what's working for you, but what's probably been what was the reason you decided to use LinkedIn in the first place?
Well, it was a recognition, two things. One, it's where my people play. It's where my tribe and my clients hang out. Yep. So I obviously have to be there as well. And it was kind of an awareness that my LinkedIn profile was probably nothing more than a friggin' resume. And I was making some mistakes that, thankfully you pointed out that a lot of people who use LinkedIn are making. And those couple of initial coaching sessions you provided to, knock my LinkedIn profile into shape and not make some of those common mistakes people are making. And off the back of that, I immediately started seeing traction and seeing results. So not only with connecting to new potential clients in my target market, but I found it's been a great strategy for staying connected with people that who have used our services, sometimes 5, sometimes 10 years ago. And so when I started implementing what you suggested I do on LinkedIn, a funny thing happened. You know, people started to reach out with messages saying it's been a while, but it's funny you should post about that particular topic at the moment because we need some help with that. And so it was like, I remember within like 3 weeks of us doing that initial work, I had a $16,000 contract in the bag, which, is a massive return on investment compared to what, the time and the effort and the coaching you provided on LinkedIn. So it works, but it hasn't, I guess it also took me again with your support and coaching to get consistent with it. Because LinkedIn for me, I've been on there for probably 3 years before I got serious with your coaching, but it still, as you know, in the initial 6 months was a little hit and miss and, inconsistency. And the longer I live, the more I realize consistency is just the king or the queen of results. Mm-hmm. You've got to be consistent.
And I think you've hit the nail on the head there because you can get your profile optimized and get it looking good and looking as good as you are in the rest of your business. But unless you actually start using it consistently, you're not going to get the wins. So it's almost like, I guess, creating a new habit for yourself. So if you can you talk us through some of the things that you do with LinkedIn now on a regular basis that you find are useful and provide some value to your business, really?
Yeah, well, every Monday at 8 a.m. I have a quick meeting with my virtual assistant. She knows my material so well, and I wouldn't normally recommend this, but she creates a first draft of a post based on a lot of my content and tips that she actually is accredited in training. So she'll have a crack at a first draft, but I never let anything be posted unless I personally get involved in it. So we're tweaking that, and then by 9 a.m. on Monday, there's a a formal post up that's really just adding value. I'm a great fan on LinkedIn of just add value, really good, unique content, and then it'll start to be reciprocated once people trust you over time. So we're doing that every week, come hell or high water. And then usually around about Wednesday, I'm posting something that might be more of a video of something that I've got in my video bank. And then I kind of somewhere towards Friday, I might do a more of a friendlier post that's more personal development oriented for people to reflect on over the weekend, perhaps. So that's kind of the loose theory of what goes on with our posting, but it's consistent. And the second thing I've done is I'll spend 2 lots of half hour a day. I'll just find time. You know, whether you love him or hate him, John Howard, when he was our PM, he always found time to do what? Every single morning. Wherever he was in the world, he went for a walk. He did his exercise. Now, that's a pretty busy job, but he found the time. And I've just had to find the time to do my LinkedIn posting and interacting with my tribe and commenting on what they're commenting on and being active with it. So again, activity, but consistency. And, you know, that's where I talk in sales and in life to the activities first principle, that if you want results, focus on activities. Focus on the inputs, and you'll get the outputs sometimes eventually. But I have noticed that down the track, being consistent for probably well over 12 months now, the results are starting to flow, and or have been flowing for some time. I mean, I did a 4-part quick little video series around the common things that are cramping culture change. And by week number 3 in that little series, again, an old client from some time back reaches out and says, we need to talk. And off the back of that, a $60,000 contract to do some work with him and his team. So, you know, it pays dividends as long as you're putting in the activity and the effort.
Yeah. And I think what you teach with the activity first is critical, because, like I said, if you don't use it, you're not going to get the wins, and you're not going to get that longevity. And when you do maintain that consistent approach, you stay top of mind in between those meetings, particularly at the moment where we haven't been able to physically meet people and physically get on stages.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, the old adage of, 11 contact points over the course of a year to stay really connected to your tribe of clients. I've just found I've actually let go of doing a monthly e-newsletter to my tribe because I wasn't consistent on it, but secondly, I found it a big job, to kind of sit down every month and create a really great newsletter and articles and all that sort of stuff. Whereas I find key clients who want to follow me, want to interact with me, they just like the interaction on LinkedIn, and I'm giving them little updates on stuff that's going on in my world. So I've actually deleted the newsletter and just putting more and more energy and effort into LinkedIn.
Wow.
They all play a role, but I've found I've got more results from LinkedIn than any other initiative I've got happening.
Yeah. And do you still publish a blog on your website, and do you publish articles on LinkedIn? Like, how do you see those two working together?
I have never had a blog on my website because I knew with, I'm pre-COVID, I was moving around the world, 24 countries in the last, 23 years. I'm a busy speaker, facilitator. My wife says, you're not busy, you're full. You've got a full agenda. It means something completely different. So yes, I've had a full agenda with lots on. And so I knew I was just never going to be consistent at blogging. So I don't go near that. What I do is, just the consistency of posting. And I just about a month ago got my first article up. So we're going to more consistently do articles on LinkedIn, but my strategy has been just posting. And it's been really interesting looking at your stats of the results you get, I find, from a video post, and not as strong as just a plain written post that shares a little of what's going on in my world, shares some really valuable content, and then just, you know, serves them and gives them a principle that can help them in their world. They go gangbusters compared to other forms of posts.
It's interesting you say that, because when video first came to LinkedIn, like native video you could post on LinkedIn, it was getting a lot of traction and it sort of died down. And right now the text still remains probably the most effective, text only, or maybe an image to capture attention for the visual people.
Yes.
But the other type of content that's performing really well, I'm finding, is it's called document posts, which is essentially like a carousel of images as well. Have you tried those in your strategy?
No, I haven't. Maybe something to add to the strategy.
Yeah, well, I know someone's going to help you with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And have you tried some of the other features? Well, a newer feature that's been released, which is polls, essentially.
No, I haven't been doing polls. I've seen people doing them. I've really just been, you know, sticking to the basics, because at the moment it's working. So, you know, but no doubt, as my mentor and coach on LinkedIn, you'll kick me in the butt again and get me doing some other things that'll continue to take it another level.
Yeah. Now, I just want to touch on something that I know we bring up in your programs, where I sort of add some value to. So we talk about writing your profile in a particular way. Now, when it comes to writing your about section, which is the most difficult piece of content to write on your profile, because you're writing about yourself, where you're going, where you've been, all that sort of stuff. And I know you talk about your NUTSUM principle, which fits and lends itself really well to the about section. Can you just unpack a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, the NUTSUM principle is short for a nutshell summary. NUTSUM, NUTSUM, a nutshell summary, which, you know, I teach in a sales context to take a brief, understand their needs, issues and challenges, and then wrap it up into a neat little NUTSUM, a nutshell summary. So you demonstrate you really understand their model of the world. And I think that's where it links into the about section on LinkedIn, is that, you know, as you help me do, you've got to talk to your ideal client in a language that demonstrates you understand their model of the world, their pain points, you know, not going straight into how wonderful you are, but actually, you know, demonstrating you get their world, so they're interested in reading further. And if I had a tip for anyone, it would be do what you did with me, where I basically paid you an outsourced rewriting of that whole about section to you as a third party, because you were able to look at it through a lens where I was just too close to it. And so it had stuff that I've written about myself over the years that was, you know, in the wrong tense and all sorts of stuff going wrong with it. But when you had a look at it with your eye on, you know, social media marketing and everything that you're wonderful at, you know, I kind of read what you came up at the end and went, wow, that sounds great. Is that really me? And it is. You really nailed it. But you did it in a way that it spoke to my ideal client and my target market, rather than everyone just boasting about themselves, as they tend to do in their websites and their LinkedIn profiles.
And I think they do that because either they feel that they need to because they see other people doing it, or they're really uncomfortable writing about themselves. So if they write about themselves in the third person and all their awesome achievements first, that's what they feel sells them. But as you said, it's about understanding your audience first and understanding their problems, their pain points, and writing in a way that connects. And then at some point you need to then qualify yourself, but not initially. So and I like the way that you sort of package the NUTSUM as a methodology, part of your methodology. Which is
Well, instead of saying, Ian Stevens is a award-winning speaker who's been to yada yada countries and it's starting out with that comment that says, sales directors feedback thus struggling at ensuring the revenue results happen. So hit their pain point first, then move into showcasing what you've got that can solve that problem. That really assisted, because really, before I got into this coaching and mentoring process on LinkedIn with you, I just wasn't getting any traction. So I get why people perhaps think it's a waste of time. They're putting a lot of energy into it and not get anything back. But, it's the old adage that, I'd rather go to a professional like you who spent 8,000 odd hours specialising in an area. Apparently that makes you an expert. Rather than, as most of us do, is we just dabble and try and do our best and look at what other people around us are doing and make the same mistakes they're making.
Yeah. And that's why I think people end up writing in the third person, or they put extra words in their name field, which is actually a breach of the user agreement, things like that, that they see people doing and thinking that it's the way to go. But just a step back, you mentioned award-winning. Now, I know you've won quite a few accolades, so you could actually have gone straight into the whole award-winning, and you won one just this year at PSA.
Yeah, well, two. They bestowed the Educator of the Year award on me in the Professional Speakers Association, which is just amazing. I mean, that's just such an honour. And then, knocked me over with a feather. They also, I was the recipient of the Nevin Award, which is like the award in the industry for, I guess, people who are respected, who've served their industry and given back, and that's that was a real honour. But all that stuff comes later in your profile after you've hit the pain points, so that they want to read further. Otherwise, they just disconnect and say there's another ego boasting about himself or herself.
Yeah,
and kind of leave your site, leave your profile.
Yeah, and you, I guess, like I said, you've got the awards to kind of lead with, but you don't. You let your expertise speak first, and tapping into the issue and problem that your ideal client has.
Yes.
Now, I just want to wrap things up with: do you have a favourite feature or part of LinkedIn that gives you the biggest return, or best investment of your time?
Well, now, what's that little tip you gave all the fellow PSAers a few weeks ago of putting the /sales after your name, and then seeing how you come up in terms of being an influencer?
Do you mean Facebook, or are you talking LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, yeah, LinkedIn, and it came up with me having an 82% kind of ranking as an influencer on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So I really like just plugging that in every now and then and just see how I'm visually scoring.
Oh, you're talking about the social selling index. That's right.
Yes.
So it's linkedin.com/sales/SSI, and it gives you a rating out of 100 and breaks it down into 4 key areas. But it allows you to benchmark where you're going. I mean, the number itself, no one else sees it. It's a little competition with yourself, which I think is important.
Yeah, but as a visual person, I just love the graphic you get there, and it kind of shows you how you're tracking in those 4 areas. So thanks for introducing me to that. But I just love the fact that I can post there and stay connected with people on a regular basis.
Yeah. And that's great, particularly coming from someone who specializes in sales, because you didn't mention sales then. You didn't mention selling to people, because it's about it's a social network.
Well, that's right.
Result.
But if you do the activity of connecting, trust will emerge, and then they're interested to look a little further. And if they keep getting great content, more trust emerges. So eventually, the dollars and the payoff will be there, as it has been for me, via the LinkedIn strategy. But I'm not going into it with sales or dollars top of mind. It's about connecting, relationship building, and that trust will emerge over time. And then, who knows, we might do some business down the track.
And I guess that's the essence of what social selling is, which is a bit of a buzzword. And it's actually what I teach, but I don't use it because people misunderstand social selling. They think it's selling on social, which it's not. It's selling through being social, selling through connection. So thanks for sharing your insights.
That's kind of finally, what I teach in sales is don't try and sell anything to anyone. The best salespeople create what I call a buy from environment, where the people want to do business with you. And that's because you've done the value adding, the social engagement with them, and then the sale will take care of itself down the track.
Yeah. So on that then, so if people want to learn more about you, Ian, or connect to you, or learn more about how they can sell more effectively without being salesy, how do they get in touch with you and find you?
Best place would just be enrichyourresults.com.au. That's and you'll see a contact us page there. It'll give you a good insight into the online training or the face-to-face in-person training that we can and did do before COVID-19, and we will get back to in some way, shape, or form.
Yes, in the what we're calling the new normal, or whatever term we're coming up for that, which
Absolutely.
is new way forward. Brilliant. And do you welcome new LinkedIn connections?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yep. Well, thank you very much for your time and sharing your insights. And
pleasure. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, the show. Excellent. Thanks, Ian.
Bye-bye.